this on? It is. And here we are. Once again, it is top of the perch. It's been a minute. Tottenham are going to the Europa League final. Still absolutely wild today. I still don't really have the words for it. I mean, 6 years ago tonight was, simply the greatest night in Tottenham history. Obviously, this wasn't, the comeback that was, but tonight, it felt different. I don't know. Tonight was just, it just getting to a final of a European competition in this year that is just, it's been so tough at times. And we've gotten to this point, and we are now most likely 90 to 120 minutes away from winning a European trophy. Not just any type of trophy, a European trophy. We are so close. We are on the brink of something spectacular. Now, Tottenham Hotspur, since the last video, which I think was about mid-March, have been anything but spectacular in that time. And that's kind of partially why we took a pause. We were going to kind of just let the season die down, because you can only repeat the same thing so many times before it just feels like it becomes redundant. There were thoughts last week of doing it after the first leg, and the vibe, I won't say the vibes were super high, but they were elevated after the first leg when we went up 3-1 in a game we basically dominated start to finish. But there was still that hesitation coming into today. There was that nervous energy. There's that pit in your stomach. It just felt like Tottenham's up by 2 on aggregate. They're somehow going to lose this game 3-0. That's the Tottenham we know. That's how it's going to go. Yet here we are. Tottenham pull off a 2-0 victory north of the Arctic Circle in the fishing village of Bodø in Norway. And they're going to Bilbao. They're going to the Europa League final. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right to say, because all this season has just been dreadful, awful, terrible. All the words to encompass how bad this season has been for Tottenham, especially in league play. It has been one of the worst seasons in not even just recent memory, and just history of the club, period. But here we are playing, going into this semifinal. It felt like a massive opportunity. We were done a massive favor when Lazio went out to, obviously, this Bodø Glimt team in penalties in the quarterfinal. It felt like it had to be. And here we are. It is, March 8th, or May 8th, I should say. And Tottenham pull off a victory in a place I don't think anybody expected them to win in. Now, advance, I think a lot of people did. Actually win the game today, I don't think many people did. There was a lot of talk about, playing north of the Arctic Circle, playing on a turf pitch. Bodø are stellar at home. You look at some of the teams they beat this year in the Europa League alone at home. Lazio, Olympiacos, Twente. I believe Braga was in there. They have knocked out some big teams at home. Now, of course, they were playing at different times. Like weather conditions do play a lot. Yeah, it wasn't particularly great there. It rained all this game, but it also this wasn't in November or December when it's -1 degree Celsius or even worse than that, most likely. I believe it was like 7 or 8 degrees Celsius today in Bodø. And, it's different. Now, a wet turf pitch, I don't think a lot of people expected Tottenham to do well on at all, including myself. I thought today was kind of going to be a disaster. I still thought, hey, we'll get at least a goal and maybe we'll lose 2-1, but that's enough to see us through. And it didn't really work out that way. Yeah, Bodø controlled the possession in the first half. They had more of the attacking opportunities. They had more of the chances. Vicario had to make a few key saves in the first half. But, it was still 0-0 going into the half. It felt like this game was still there for the taking for Tottenham. They still had every chance to not just advance, but pull out, a victory in this match alone. Everything was building for Tottenham to find that magical way to get through to the final tonight. And it kind of it did. It feels just so weird to say because we haven't had that experience almost at all this season, it feels like. But Tottenham they found the way to do it. And like I said, this first half, it was not the most stellar of football. It wasn't an Inter-Barca game. Like, it was just Tottenham trying to control what they could control. Bodø was going to be on the attack no matter what this whole game, down 2 goals on aggregate. They were going to give it their all, especially at home. The first Norwegian team to make a, European semifinal, I think, just period. Of course they're going to, come out and just play the most insane game of football to try to get some type of result out of this. And I think, a lot's been said this year and the past few months about Ange Postecoglou. This was a very well-managed game from him. It was, like I said, controlling what Tottenham could control in this game, given all the external factors, and just kind of, I wouldn't say slogging it out, but just playing to how Bodø was going to play in this game. Let Bodø dictate it, capitalize on all of Bodø's mistakes, and just find a way to win. And that's what Tottenham did. We get to the 63rd minute, and it's a corner kick for Tottenham, perfectly thrown into the box. I believe it was Tell there, I believe at the back post, who puts it down for Solanke, who's just in the middle of the mixer. And he gets the ball and he finds a way to get in the back of the net. And it is 1-0 Tottenham. It was Christian Romero actually on the header, now that I remember that. Tell came a little bit later. But Romero, header, goes down. Solanke is there to redirect it. It's 1-0 Tottenham. And at that point, it's like, okay, we can breathe. There's 25-ish minutes left, but this is going to happen. And then we get to the 69th minute. It was Udogie gets it to, I believe it was Bissouma. Bissouma gets it to the other side of the field. It was on the camera near side. So it was obviously gets it to Porro. He's going up the wing there as he gets just on kind of the edge of the box. Gets in it. Looks like he's truly going for a cross here. Pings it, and it goes off the far post and finds the back of the net. And it's 2-0 Tottenham. And that's really when it kind of sets in like, hey, it's 5-1 on aggregate. This is happening. Tottenham Hotspur are going to be playing in a European final this year. And of course, Porro was going to play that off like that was intentional. That was 100% across. That was just not even close to being on target. But yeah, take what you can get. And you could tell Bodo, that was the killer. You saw the goalkeeper just kind of fall to the ground there, and you knew that was it. And it was. Bodo obviously had a few chances in the few waning moments of the game to at least just get one back, get one goal in front of their home faithful. There was a penalty in like the 3rd minute of stoppage time, like right before final whistle was about to blow. They go to VAR. It's not a penalty. And then full-time whistle blows. 2-0 final. Tottenham Hotspur on to Bilbao and to play in a European final, in the Europa League final. What an absolutely outstanding achievement for this club. We always said, like, hey, let's take these cups seriously. I always felt like if we weren't in the Champions League, we never took it truly seriously. I think back to when we lost to Zagreb and we were up 2-0 on aggregate, and we lost 3-0 in Zagreb in the round of 16 in 2021. That's probably when Mourinho should have been fired, yet he lasted another month and got, of course, sacked the week of the Carabao Cup final. I think back to the Conference League. I didn't think we ever took that truly seriously. It just never felt like we did, especially, at the end with all the COVID stuff. We kind of just said, hey, like, it's over. We don't even want to advance to the knockout stages. I don't even remember. I think that's how they went out of the competition. I truly don't remember if they actually made it to the knockout stages. I don't think they did. But you just think back on all those moments, and it's like, how did we get here? And you look back on why Tottenham's here in the Europa League in the first place. It's because they had that game against City at the end of the year last year where they lost, and it basically handed City the title over, of course, Woolwich Arsenal. And now you look at it, and Tottenham's in a European final. If Tottenham would have won that game against City, there's zero chance they're even close to the Champions League final this year. Zero chance. Yet here we are, 1 year later. I think I think we're coming up on the anniversary of that game last year. And Tottenham are sitting in a position they very rarely are in, if we're honest. For Europa League at least, you got to go back to 1981, the last time they won it. And that was it was a magical night for all those people involved. Back then, it was obviously a two-legged affair, and it's just a different time of game, all that these days, just because that's where we are in today's football. Of course, it's now, one game in a neutral site for all the marbles. And it's fine. It feels like it's finally a good feeling. Like I said, last time we were here was in the Europa League, at least, was 1984. Our last European final was, of course, the Champions League final in 2019, the game that followed this magical night. We've won this competition twice, 72 and 84. We lost one in 74, but that's a long, long time ago. Obviously 84 was that last European championship. This club should be at these levels. This club should be striving for these type of trophies. And they never truly took it seriously. It felt like they always felt like they had the opportunity to win those games, and they never did because they never took it seriously. Like, Tottenham probably should have done much better in the Conference League than what they actually did. But here we are. I mean, like countless Europa League runs. It's like we should have done so much more here. I mean, you do look back at some of the Champions League runs. That's a bit different because Tottenham usually always an underdog in the Champions League. But like, you just gotta just go for it once, and I feel like we're finally doing that. And like, if we're honest, Postecoglou more than likely getting the sack, win or lose, come the end of May. And hopefully, if it's a win, it's part by mutual consent and not a sacking, because I don't think that looks great. But I mean, it's been coming. But I gotta give it to him. He's managed these European games quite like perfectly for Tottenham. It has been. He knew he was taking these seriously because truly out of all of them, this somehow felt like the only one we actually had a chance of winning this year. Between obviously the Carabao where we made a semifinal, but I mean we were playing Liverpool in the semifinal. You look at the FA Cup. I mean that game against Villa was a disaster. If that game goes a different way, we may be talking a bit differently right now. And the league was never there. And here we sit on May 8th, and Tottenham have a chance to make the worst season in quite a while for Tottenham Hotspur into one of the most magical. And it's kind of a weird feeling as we are now, 13 days away from, as of recording of this, by the time you probably see it, 12 or less days away from St. Mam's in Bilbao, where Tottenham will take on Manchester United in a European final in the Europa League final. Now, Man United have been quite dreadful this year. They are on par for the course with Tottenham Hotspur. And it feels fitting both of these teams now sit here and are going to do whatever it's going to be in Bilbao. I really don't know what to expect, if I'm honest. Given how Ange Postecoglou has managed games against United, I don't believe we've lost a game against United with him at the helm. I know there are a few draws thrown in there. I know we've beaten them 3 times this season. But this feels like a very Tottenham moment where they lose the game that matters the most. But also it feels like this, and I mean, United have it too this year. This Tottenham team just has some type of voodoo magic in this tournament. Now, I'll 100% honest, United have it much more. I mean, look at that Lyon game. That was absolutely insane. But, I mean, here we are. Here we sit 13 days away from a European final that Tottenham Hotspur will be playing in. I honestly don't even think I think I know the league games between then. I believe it is Palace at home on Sunday, and I believe it's Villa on Friday next week. That sounds about right because a lot of Villa fans were complaining that game got moved. I believe that's next week or somewhere around there. That doesn't sound right. There's probably another game mixed in there, but I digress. Tottenham Hotspur playing in a Europa League final in the year 2025. It could be an absolute magical night for Tottenham Hotspur and Bilbao. 13 days from now, it could be an absolute nightmare like Madrid was in 2019. Who knows? That's the magic of football. That's why we love it. That's why we love the game. And here we sit in the year 2025, Tottenham Hotspur playing in a European final. And, I don't care truly, but shout out Chelsea. They made the Conference League final. I know we don't love them, but, it is what it is. I'm sure Betis will take care of them in the final, though. London, the biggest clubs in London got to a European final. What can I say? Some may say all the biggest teams in England got to a European final. Who am I to say? Hey, what phase are you guys in after losing in Perry? We'll see. Hopefully, 13 nights from now, we're doing another one of these, and the words just can't be found, I hope. And I hope in a good way, not in a bad way. I've seen too many bad ways. I'm hoping for a good one. But given that, we're going to wrap up this episode of Top the Perch. Thank you so much for watching. If you just stumbled across this video, click like, click subscribe, tell anybody you know about it. I don't know if there's going to be another one between now and the Europa League final. There may be, there may not be. I'm not really sure. But yeah, Tottenham on to your European final. Come on, you Spurs.